Hello and welcome to Not Gambling Advice, the baseball betting stream on the Just Baseball Network. It is Monday, August 7th, and I'm your host, Peter Apple, and I'm here to deliver you some MLB winners. What's going on, everybody? I'm still pretty high off the A's win yesterday. Kind of overshadowed that we did lose on the first five, but don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone. But also, producer Cone, you smell that? Kind of smells like a heater. In the last 5 days, in the green and 4 of them, it's not been much, but hey, it's a long season. We're just building and building and building. 2 straight days in the green over the weekend, and I'm ready to carry that over into some Monday MLB best bets. I know I have 3. We got Cali Wager coming on. He's fading me. We'll see how that goes. We also have Anthony DeBundo, Mid-Major Matt, and Colby. And those 3 in particular, not only do they know ball, all 3 red hot in the competition. Producer Cohen, if you can flash the leaderboard tracked on the Pikkit Sports app. Producer Cohen, if you could also drop the link in chat to download Pikkit. Remember to sync your sportsbook using code Peter, because on top of it, I don't know yet. I might have a pick for Cubs Mets, but it will be released on Pikkit if I do. Again, no guarantees. I want to see how much more money comes in. I want to talk to the guys when we get to the stadium, but we'll see. But if I do, it will be on Pikkit, so make sure to download it. Sync your sportsbook using code Peter, and you'll be entered into the raffle. Can you keep the leaderboard up there just for a second? Because Anthony was down about 6 units and only just come on the past couple of times. Now he is in the green, right? Colby is still down there, but he was way worse a while ago. And we would consider, Cali Wager, he's got to build up some units back. Let's be honest with everybody. But Mid-Major Matt, I mean, what a return. What a return. Was down 20 units like 3 weeks ago, and now he's basically back to even. I expect him to be positive today. But let's do a quick recap of how we did on Friday. Detroit moneyline, absolute donation. Cincinnati Reds, first 5 -1/2, bang. Graham Ashcraft delivered it, everything that we needed. And luckily, we went Reds first 5. I know a lot of people in chat were saying, well, what about -1.5, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, not a big believer in this Reds bullpen, which we will talk about later. And they ended up blowing it. The Nationals stay hot. The Reds are crumbling. But luckily, we got them. And we ended up making a big fat 0 because that's all it was. But guess what? Let's do it. Let's recap them. Let's talk about those Tigers. Freaking Reese Olson. I mean, just batting practice. I have banned the Detroit Tigers. I banned them. The first team officially added to the 2023 ban list is the Detroit Tigers. I was doing the math, guys. I think I'd be up 9 units on the season if I just never bet on the Tigers. I have an addiction. I'm a sick man, and the only cure is Tigers money line, and they never fricking win. And then I don't know if you guys saw on TikTok, nice play there by freaking Wander. Look, it's just a clinic. Or was that Taylor Walls? Somebody. I think it was Wander. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. I mean, this is just bullshit. This is bullshit. Look at Miggy. All right. Get after it, Miggy. Didn't matter. It was already 4-0. Get out of this game. I don't care to watch it anymore. Yeah, we freaking lost. We lost on the Tigers, and I'm done. Whatever. But let's talk about the Reds. Look at Graham Ashcraft here, right? He's a guy, we talked about it on stream. Peripheral's not great because he's not a big strikeout guy, but he delivered. And Patrick Corbin ended up pitching really well. But you know why I was the most pissed about this game, even though it hit, and Matt McClain hit our home run? Spencer Steer. So this is the Matt McClain home run. Remember when I said he's going to hit a home run off Patrick Corbin in the first inning? And he just didn't hit it to left field. Like I said, he hit it to center field. And we're going to go over our home run picks at the end. Look at this play by Stuart Fairchild. That a baby. But, and we don't have the highlight, but Spencer Steer, we took his over 1.5 bases, flew out to the warning track in center field. At a baby. Then they just took the 3-0 lead. Graham Ashcraft. Look at Ellie. God, he's fun. He strikes out all the time, but damn, he's big. Look at that play by Fairchild. We cannot be letting him make plays like that today, though, because he is in center. Not a baby. End of 5. And I just want to, can we just show highlights of the A's? Let's show highlights of the A's. Look at our guy, Luis Medina. Oh, man, it looked bad early. Guy couldn't find the strike zone. The Giants took an early 1-0 lead. We're at the bar at the Pikkit event. And also, if you guys are going to, I don't know if you guys are any of you New York-based, but Trent, Krabs, Javon, Lauren, Mikey Overs, Chelly will all be at the Mets game tonight. But look at the A's just battling back. They will not be denied. This should have been a home run. Look how close that was from Seth Brown. That's a bomb, though, in the Coliseum. Like, that's far. But then Luis Medina, I mean, it was just so horrible tailing him. Excuse me. But we got the A's, like, they're Major League Baseball players. Look at all these. Look at Nick Allen. Look at Nick Allen taking Alex Cobb deep. Nick Allen, why not us? The A's, the fighting A's, are they getting hot? Are they getting hot, or are the Giants just horrible? I guess we'll see today. Look at that. You know, the Giants kept scoring. This was just a great game, back and forth. Giants take a 6-3 lead on this. We forgot the A's are a AAA team. They kind of look like a AAA team there, but don't count them out. Don't count them out. Is that Nick Allen? Is that Nick Allen again? Nick Allen, my favorite player right now. Look at that. Just good plate discipline out there. Not trying to chase. And then they take the lead. The fighting A's, the Moneyball-led A's, the Billy Beane and Brad Pitt-led A's. They will not be denied. Team playing with nothing to lose right now. Bats are hot. And I'm trying to take advantage today. And the A's win the ball game 8-6 plus 170. Why not us? I'm wearing my green shirt today. Right? I was wearing my green Bass Pro Shops hat. Kind of a douchey Tool hat, but I had to wear some green for the A's. So I'm rocking green again today. But the Bass Pro Shops hat's kind of douchey, but I only have it to support the A's because they're my favorite team. Let's get into the picks for today. The Miami Marlins are taking on the Cincinnati Reds at 6-4. Sorry, what did you say? Producer going? The pick just dropped off, but let's talk about it, right? So this is a pretty lopsided starting pitching matchup that I really spent a while this morning trying to figure out how to attack it. Could roll with the first five, but BetMGM just made it so expensive. And I could not really go with the first five run line because it's nearly the same price as the full game money line. Decided just don't get cute. Give me the Marlins to win the game. So as you can see here, line has changed, and we're going to talk about it. But as you can see, it's still 1 unit play, so we'll talk about it. So both of these teams are heading in the same direction. Downward. Both teams are 3-7 in their last 10 games, and both were swept over the weekend. However, the Marlins do get a small pass for being swept by the Rangers, while the Reds got swept by the Nationals. They're just playing horrible baseball right now. There's no real edge on quote-unquote hot team, and the Marlins shouldn't be fatigued much after playing day game than traveling up to Ohio. The travel is there. You obviously don't love that. That's why I'm not laying the juice, but they have the advantages on pretty much every side of the ball because Yuri Perez is a phenom. He proved he can be a mainstay in the rotation when he came up earlier this season. But the Marlins, they needed to limit his workload because he's just 20 years old, right? He can't even have a beer. They did just that, and now we should be fresh for this matchup against this struggling Reds team. His 3.49 expected ERA is a full run higher than his ERA, but it still places him in the 74th percentile. Not often are you going to have an xERA that's not a full run higher when you have a 2.5 ERA and you're rocking a 28.4% K rate. During this cold streak for the Reds, they have been striking out a ton, which is going to be key here. They rank second in all of Major League Baseball in the last 30 days in strikeout rate, 29.4%. He's projected to go about 75 to 80 pitches in this one, but I expect him to be extremely effective and take advantage, again, of this struggling Reds team. The 2022 Reds were lefty killers, but this season it's reverted back to right-handed pitching. Not ideal, but let's talk about it because of the emergence of Elly De La Cruz, TJ Friedl, and Jake Fraley. Jake Fraley not in the lineup today. However, that's slowed of late to near bottom of the barrel production. They have a 78, 22% below league average, WRC plus against right-handed pitching in the last 2 weeks. So I always point to June 6th because weirdly enough, we bet on the Reds a lot as being a key date for them. Why? That's the day they called up Elly De La Dono, as some people might call him, Elly De La Bonds, Elly De La whatever is on the right side of your bet. For a while there were a top 5 offense against right-handed pitching. Since that date, 15th. It's probably due to being 23rd since July 1st. Now, who's going to line up on the other side? Brandon Williamson, right? In his last start, he performed well. Oh, no. In his last start, he performed really poorly. In July, he was pitching pretty well, but he gave up 5 runs against the Cubs. Now, you could say the Cubs are just really hot. But what do we think about Brandon Williamson at this point? I think he could be a back-end pitcher one day, but his early numbers suck. I could say not ideal, but they suck. His 5.71 expected ERA places him in the 6th percentile. 6th. You can hold it up with barely 2 hands, making him one of the worst pitchers in Major League Baseball at the moment. His strikeout, walk, and hard hit rates are all below average, and he can't keep the ball on the ground. He's also been at his worst in night games, spinning 3 of his best starts during the day. Now, what do the Marlins do well, right? One area. They really do hit left-handed pitching. Their ability to hit left-handed pitching in the last 2 weeks has given them a 126 WRC plus, ranking 8th in the league. Since July 1st, they have a 126 WRC plus, 26% above league average, placing them 5th. Since opening day, 3rd best offense in Major League Baseball, right? And it makes sense. The Marlins, they can platoon 8 right-handed bats, and I think they have 9 today in the lineup because Luis Arraez is not playing, which is obviously not ideal. But again, it's a lefty, so it's not that big of a deal. And when you consider that the Reds will not have Matt McClain and they will not have Jake Fraley, I really like the Marlins today. And the Marlins project even better than they have been against lefties with the addition of Jake Burger, right? Jake Burger, one of the best hitters in baseball against left-handed pitching, right? We talk about the White Sox. They can only hit lefties. A lot of that had to do with Jake Burger, and also the addition of Josh Bell certainly helps as well. And Williamson has allowed an 829 OPS to right-handed hitters this year. It's not good. I also like that they faced a left-hander yesterday, right? Andrew Heaney shoved against them, didn't score anything. They're seeing back-to-back lefties, right? I was almost on the square side, which was the Dodgers last night for Sunday Night Baseball. I don't normally like to bet on Sunday Night Baseball because I always feel that the books, that's their most well-priced line of the week. Sunday Night Baseball, that's what I think. It's hard to find value there, but I was going to bet on the Dodgers because the Dodgers face back-to-back lefties, right? They went Blake Snell, then they went Rich Hill. Similar situation here. You got Andrew Heaney, who I think is at this point, I think he's a good lefty. I'm not even sure. He's just so inconsistent. But Williamson is much worse, and they're seeing back-to-back lefties, right? And you could say, well, why don't we go Marlins first 5? You're right. You could, especially because the money line has trickled up to minus 145. But can the Marlins bullpen hold it? It's not very good. It projects well. Like if you look at expected numbers, Sierra, it projects well. Me personally, watching them, I don't like it. That's just a me thing. Now, the numbers would say I could give you a full pitch to tell you why the Marlins bullpen is good and back it up by data. I'm going to be honest. I do not really like this Marlins bullpen. I don't. But one thing they do have on their side, a ton of rest, right? Puck, Braziman, Robertson, Scott, Okert could even pitch. They got everybody available outside of Jorge Lopez. Everyone's available. So rested Marlins bullpen, I can get behind it. And I could spin you a very good story based on the data, but again, I don't love them. The Reds, their bullpen kind of stinks at this point, right? And I wrote that they have the superior bullpen based on what I think, but by the numbers, the Marlins have the better bullpen. So you could make a fine argument that the Marlins have every advantage in this game, right? Alexis Diaz, 32 pitches in the last 3 games. Cruz, 31. Law, 27. Farmer, 24. And Jabot, Young, Mole, Sims, all of them threw yesterday. So they don't even have the rest advantage. I think the Marlins are the better team. I think the Marlins are better than the Reds, right? Both teams are trending in a bad direction. Marlins are better. Reds look far worse than them. Not laying the juice. So I capped this game, and this always makes me feel good, right? When a closing line is like what I capped it at. I capped it at minus 150. The model has it at minus 153, around minus 148, in that range. So you're not really seeing much value. That's why I'm not laying juice. But at the same time, I think they win the ball game. So it's up to you. You could go first 5 minus a half. I don't mind that at all but I think the Marlins outlast them and ended up winning the game. Up to you how you want to play it. I played it on the money line. If you can find that price, definitely bettable at a unit. But I just wouldn't spend more than a unit on it, wherever you can get it at. So, Peter, my girl wanted to chill tonight, but I told her I had a date with the Oakland Athletics. Bud, man, that's dedication right there. That's dedication right there. Tell your girlfriend you can hang out with her in November, right, when it's cold, when it's snuggle season. August is for betting on the Oakland A's. If I was Patrick Corbin at my job, I'd be fired years ago. It's so true. All right. Let's talk Royals. Tennessee Royals travel to Fenway Park to face the Boston Red Sox at 7:10 p.m. Eastern. The pitching matchup is Cole Reagans versus Brian Bayo. Who are the Red Sox to be favored by this much? 3-7 in their last 10. And any Red Sox fan, if there's any in chat, you guys know when they're hot, they look like they could win the World Series. When they're not, they look like they're fighting for the number 1 overall pick. You see Reese McGuire over this weekend. You see Jarren Duran drop balls. They are playing horrible baseball right now. They're one of the most inconsistent teams in the sport. When they're great, they're great. I would not be taking the Royals if this Red Sox team is hot, but they're not. So let's talk about it. We've been on Cole Reagans the past 2 times. And he's been kind of good, right? He's tossed 6 shutout innings against the Mets and only allowed 1 run over 5 innings against the Rays on July 15th. Reagans, interestingly enough, has seen a huge velocity jump from 2022, where he was sitting at 92 miles an hour. You know where he's sitting now? 96. Look at that heater. That was 99. Find me other lefties doing that on the mound as a starter. Find them. That's kind of a shitty pitch, but the Mets just suck. Whatever, just get in the strike zone. Do you know who else averages 96 miles an hour? Shane McClanahan and Jesus Luzardo. That's it. He's intriguing. He's at 97 against the Rays and 95 against the Mets. Now, I don't think he'll be 97 because he has less rest right now. He's finally getting into a rhythm. I assume he'll be sitting 95. But 95 from a lefty when you got 2 secondary pitches with an xWOBA under 240? I think this guy's a diamond in the rough. I really do. I've been so intrigued watching him. I think he's good. Remember, he got traded for Aroldis Chapman. Remember, Gleyber Torres got traded for Aroldis Chapman and the Cubs won a World Series. Now, the Rangers won't care about trading Cole Reagans if they win a World Series, but they might have lost out on somebody. So, over the entire season, the Red Sox, they don't really give a shit whether it's a righty or lefty, right? They have a 104 WRC plus against righties, 103 against lefties. However, this team cannot hit anyone with their left hand in the past 2 weeks. They're ranked 29th in baseball in WRC plus at 42. The only team worse in that span, the Guardians. In the last 30 days, they have a 100 WRC plus. So they're really good, and then they get cold. That's what I'm trying to illustrate here, folks. They have 100 WRC plus in the last 30 days. In the last 2 weeks, 42. They get really hot, then they just plummet. That's what they're in the midst of. And, right, could they just right the wrongs? They're facing the Royals today. Maybe. Screw that. I don't think so. The Royals' bats are hot, even though they've lost 2 out of the last 3 of the Phillies. The bats are still there. They are the Royals, and they are plus 170 for a reason. In the last 30 days, the Royals have a 107 WRC plus against right-handed pitching. Last 2 weeks, WRC plus climbed to 116, ranking 8th in the league. So Bayo is solid, but there are areas of concern. He's getting hit hard, sitting in the 20th percentile in hard hit rate. It's just not a good recipe against the Royals team that, despite their struggles, always hits the ball hard. He's done a better job at limiting free passes, but his strikeout rate is still in the bottom third among qualified starters. So Brian Bayo is a ground ball Brian Bayo is a ground ball guy, right? That's his bread and butter. What if I told you the Royals have the 7th lowest ground ball rate against right-handed pitching this entire season? That's not even talking about when the bats are hot. Reagan's got a 3.52 expected ERA. Bayo's at 4.14, right? But that sounded really good, right? It sounded great. I know it sounded good. There's a reason the Royals are plus 170. They're horrific on the road. 15-41 record on the road. They're a garbage can on the road, right? They went into Philly, bats stayed hot, still lose. Could very easily lose. The Royals also have to travel from Philly to Boston, so not much. The Red Sox also have the bullpen advantage, right? They're just a better bullpen. The Royals bullpen sucks. But the Royals bullpen is more rested, right? They got Cox, they got Davidson, Coleman, Whitgren, Carlos Hernandez. Oh, these guys suck. But maybe but maybe, right? And after hearing this, you probably want to bet the Royals first 5, and I get it, right? It's plus 140 on the first 5 money line compared to plus 170. Is the Red Sox bullpen that much better? No. I want the glory. Royals money line plus 170. Why not us? All right. We got to bet on the A's. We got to. And I'm about to talk to Anthony. I see him in queue. I'm actually very upset he's not on the A's, which probably means they're losing. Because if he's not on the A's, probably losing. It doesn't get much grosser than this, but the A's are hot. Now, forming a baseball argument around this one is going to be tough, right? But baseball's a weird game. Crap teams go on runs, and considering we've been on the right side of A's in back-to-back games, haven't they earned a half unit, Anthony, in Q? Haven't they earned a half unit at least? We're going to talk to him in a minute. So, and Anthony's company, Action Network, they have a couple of pro systems, right? So one system, bad team after a win, is something we've used for the Royals and A's in the past week, and it's worked out really well. It's a huge sample, over 4,400 games. Those bad teams, and what qualifies a bad team, right? It's a win rate under 40%. They suck, right? They've gone 2,083 and 2,397. They do not win every single time, but they win at a 46% rate for a 3% ROI, netting bettors 137.94 units. The system gets even better when we look at division dogs, right? Hitting at a 44% rate. So in this scenario, teams like the A's are 679 and 869, netting bettors 106.27 units at a 7% ROI, right? We're not betting on the A's at minus 110. We're betting on them at plus 195. And the Rangers, yeah, they rake against lefties, right? I don't know what to tell you. They rake against lefties. But Josh Young just went down with a fractured thumb. Jonah Heim is also still on the IL. Those guys hit lefties. They're not going to be in the lineup today. The Rangers also don't have travel on their side, right? They had to hop on a plane from Texas, and now they travel to Oakland without an off day. Now, Dane Dunning is the superior pitcher, but the xERA between Waldichuk and Dunning is not all that different. Waldichuk sits with a 5.04 expected ERA because he's kind of a beanbag, but Dunning sits with a 4.56. Realistically, the A's are probably priced correctly. That's probably why Anthony's not on them. I have them priced at plus 175. Model has them at plus 179. The Rangers are better in every facet of the game. They're way better. But hey, if the Rangers at minus 220 were a safe lay piece, we'd all be drinking cold adult beverages in Cabo right now. And if you haven't been on the run with the A's with us over these past couple of games, stay off it, right? Because you don't have the A's money to play with. But I think I'm just going to keep betting them until they lose. Like, what about in 2000 and whatever, Moneyball year, where they won 20 in a row? I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it might. How long did it take you to find all the joke highlights? All right, let's quickly do. So those are the 3 plays. We got the A's money line probably not hitting, but it might. Royals money on, which I do love, and we're on the Miami Marlins. Yeah,
it's like what Gino said when you want to take teams that are like on a hot streak and not the ones that are on the cold streak. So you take them on the hot streak when they're priced correctly.
That's what I'm saying.
There's no point in fading the A's. You don't want to be.
You don't want to catch the falling knife, is what he was saying. Like the square ass Orioles against the Mets. It didn't matter what Sharp was on the Mets. Orioles destroyed them. Cubs against the Mets tonight. I think the Cubs have 1,000% of the handle. They'll probably win. Just sometimes happens in baseball. All right, let's talk homers. What just happened? They just refreshed. Ooh. I want Brian De La Cruz. I want Brian De La Cruz against Brandon Williamson. Put the camera on me for a second. Brian De La Cruz will hit a home run today off Brandon Williamson in Great American Ballpark. He's going to hit a hanger, and he's going to crush it 418 feet to left field. Count on it. Let's get to Anthony. Anthony, I'm upset. Why not the A's?
I thought about it for a little while and ultimately decided that today was not going to be an A's day for me. I did have them against Arias on Thursday. whenever Urias pitched against Sears, I had the A's, did not go well. There's just such a huge lineup difference here, and Waldichuk's command, somebody whose stuff I've always liked. I've always liked the slider, but the command being as bad as it is just feels like he's going to really slog through today's game. It's just, if I got like a 210, 215, I'd have to, but at 190, I'm okay passing. Oakland.
They don't want you to take the A's. They're putting it under your price range.
Yeah, I know. But I think with Dunning too, like he's certainly a fade candidate. Anytime you're striking out 17% of batters in a season, swinging strike rate close to 7-8%, like it's really bad for Dunning. He's not missing a lot of bats. You mentioned Young being out. You mentioned Heim. That does hurt this lineup a little bit, but it's still vastly superior across the board. And they didn't really have to use a ton of their high leverage guys yesterday either. So they can hook Dunning pretty early if they want to. If he gets into any kind of trouble and then just mount the comeback. So, it's one of those ugly plays. They probably, plus 190, 200 probably is a plus EV bet, but I can't get my money behind the A's. I need something more than just the number. Something, maybe I'm picking up on a pitcher like with Medina yesterday or whatnot that, maybe you're buying into a certain pitcher or something or a matchup. But for me, Dunning, as bad as he is, no interest for me in Oakland today.
What I did see, A's went from plus 195 to plus 185, and it's plus EV. So technically, I already won the bet.
You got CLV? Then you're good. Yeah, no.
I just won.
Congrats
to me.
My colleague Sean Cirillo, I think, said it's like has it at 170 or something, and I'm a little bit higher than that. So I'm okay with the A's. I've seen worse bets. I certainly would rather bet the A's than lay the minus 220 or lay the run line with Texas. But
I've seen worse bets.
Sometimes the best bet you make is no bet, and that's going to be me for this game.
All right, fine. All right, let's talk Marlins because you and I are aligned here. Talk a bit.
Yeah, just a continued fade of the Cincinnati Reds, who have really run a pitching scam for the better part of a month, and I think the scam has finally run out. Lively, Williamson, Weaver, these guys starting to finally get exposed. You get the Marlins and their better offensive split against the lefty. And Yuri Perez is, back in the fold, and somebody that I, still have question marks when it comes to command. I think that the jury is still kind of out on what his command situation is. But in this matchup with a Reds lineup that, generally will chase, generally has a lot of swing and miss and doesn't have a ton of plate discipline, it's a pretty favorable matchup for Yuri, and he's going to do a better job of limiting fly balls too, which is important in this ballpark. So I like the Marlins. I know the Marlins took a ton of money. Somebody came back on Cincinnati about an hour ago. That market has probably moved down towards Cincy. So I'm going to pull it up now. What is the best number out there on them?
On the Marlins?
Yeah.
Yeah, they moved. They came down because Luis Rise was announced out of the lineup. Then they went back up because no McClain or Jake Fraley, which helps our cause a lot. But now they're minus 140. Now they're minus 140.
140 is okay. It got as high as 155 this morning, 150. And somebody did play back Cincinnati. I saw plus 130 out there. Somebody who has a pretty big following. So that market moved back. But 140 is okay with me. That's about as high as I would go in this game. Like I mentioned with the starting pitching, like you look at the stuff plus on these guys that the Reds have been throwing out there. They don't project great in AAA. They didn't pitch that well there. And so the fact that they had so much major league success early on, or relatively, is kind of shocking and not something I'd expect to continue. The Reds without their best rookie tonight certainly hurts the lineup.
Would you make the line?
145.
145. I made it 150.
So
we're pretty aligned there.
Ballpark. And, I'm not laying the 150. I think that I have been lower than the market on Perez generally. Perez or Perez? Perez?
Phenom.
Yeah. And so the fact that I'm on
him.
him is a little surprising, but again, it's just how low I've had these Reds pitchers rated. I just don't think they're starting pitchers in baseball, in Major League Baseball, that is. So a little bit lower than, even lower than the market on the Reds guy. So
it's funny though. We did come to the same conclusion. I'm just higher on Yuri, and I'm not as low as you are on these Red starters. But we came to the same conclusion where it's like there's a huge mismatch here in starting pitching. And with no Luis Urias, like I don't mind it because now the Marlins have 9 right-handed bats in their lineup today against Williamson, who's sporting an 830 OPS against righties. Good luck.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like the Marlins have, if they did anything at the deadline, it's that they certainly bolstered their power output with Bell and Berger especially against a lefty, add some real pop to that lineup that they weren't really getting from Gene Segura, and Bell, his versatility over somebody like a Gary Cooper. I just think he's a better hitter. I know he's had a down year, but I like the additions the Marlins have made to the deadline. I know it didn't pay off this weekend in Texas, but
They
Texas,
won't pay off long term.
Death
They pay
Star.
off this year.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, exactly. Like I think
Jake
they're
Eater for Jake Berger. I love it when I got Marlins facing a lefty, but Jake Eater, that was.
I don't know though, because like if you're Miami, you have all this pitching.
Yeah, but you do. But how's the pitching look this year?
Pretty good. I feel like
Pretty
their
good.
pitching's
Pretty good. Like, but they
Yeah.
have all this pitching, right? Sixto Sanchez is a make-believe character.
To an extent, yes.
Like
but,
Johnny Cueto is starting. Like
Yeah.
Sandy has fallen, looked better lately, but still, like you can never have too much pitching. I just wouldn't have done it, and I wouldn't have traded two good prospects for David Robertson either.
yeah.
And then they gave up
Robertson's
Khalil
okay.
Watson.
I'm a
who was-
believer that the Marlins have like solidified their chance of like sticking in the wild card race. I know that they've lost like 5 in a row now, but they are certainly in the race for me. And I don't know that that was the case as they were constructed a week ago. So for this season, it's a good move. I mean, there's always like a why are we playing for this year thing, but for the Marlins to make the playoffs would be a pretty big achievement. I'm sure Arm isn't too happy about trading away Eater.
Yeah, no, he's not.
Yeah, but I mean, pitching prospects are what they are. I tend to be a go get your bats and figure out the pitching later guy.
Fair enough. I like Berger against lefties, but long term, let's get to play number 2. What do you got?
Yeah, I'd say we're probably plus 400 to finish this game tonight, just based on
really?
the weather forecast. So it's not looking great in terms of the weather because there's we got some severe thunderstorms up and tornado watches and looks like heavy rain around 8, maybe getting at 9:30. So we'll see if we get the game in. But if they do play it, I like over 10. Even money. This has been bouncing around all day. It got as high as over 10 minus 115. Now
That's what it is right now. No, that's what it is right now. BetMGM.
Yeah, there's some over 9.5 that was out there this morning briefly, and then it went back to 10 again. I'm a little bit concerned about Ranger Suarez allowing a lot more balls in the air this year than normal. When Suarez is at his best, he's able to generate a lot of ground balls. And the launch angles are up, and the command hasn't been as good, which is the main reason for the increase in fly balls. And the strikeout rates have never been elite for Suarez, so there's going to be a lot of balls in play. Phillies do have a better defensive alignment now with Schwarber, full-time DHing and not playing in left field. But the questions exist still with, Suarez, and the wind and the weather forecast tonight at Citizens Bank Park, about as good as you're going to get for hitting when it's not going to be raining tonight. So the high humidity plays up at Citizens Bank Park. And then, of course, 10 to 15 mile an hour south wind directly behind home plate blowing out to center has a major impact on the weather conditions. And you saw it yesterday even too with the humidity. This park plays so much smaller. And in fact, one of the top 5 or 6 park factors in the league when you have that favorable wind condition. So given the concerns about Williams, also the Nationals, if they don't get depth out of Williams, they are really stretched in their bullpen. We may see some Corey Abbott, multiple innings of him potentially out of the bullpen, some pretty bad innings lined up there. They have some other guys in their long relief that may get thrown into use today because of the last few days. And I'm a little concerned about how that projects out for them getting outs against this lineup. Philadelphia Phillies have not hit up to par this year. Nationals have been hitting a little better. CJ Abrams, maybe a little breakout, but expect a lot of balls in play tonight. And given the hitting conditions in Citizens Bank Park, that's a recipe for runs and offense. So I like the over here. Both starters also could get hooked early if we get like a rain and they come back. And they come back and play after a long delay, which would only stretch the Phillies' long relief, which could be, some Dylan Covey innings. So you're looking at a potential mess of a pitching situation, and I like the over for that reason.
Sharp plays per usual. Just pissed you're not on the A's. I'm going to war by myself.
You have fun with that. I'll be rooting you on because I know a few people at our company have it as well. And we'll see.
People on
Ozuna betted. I think somebody else. I forget. I have to look at the app, but a couple other people have betted. So
those people know ball. Those people know ball.
Yeah, certainly. Plenty of ball knowers. And I'm sure you can probably find somebody on Twitter that has Rangers minus 1.5, and the handicap is, bro, it's the A's. So there you go. And my Chicago Cubs continue to win. We are 1.5 games out of first, and we should be the odds-on favorite. Go look up the Cubs schedule for the next 2.5 weeks. And get back.
Sucks.
It's like Mets. I think they have a Toronto series, and then it's White Sox, Tigers, Pirates, Royals, or something like that. It's a crazy run they have coming up here. We're going to be in first place by the end of the month, and we are not looking back. Playoff baseball, Wrigley Field. It's going to be great, and maybe San Diego sneaks in there. It could be a great series.
Last question for you, because I think that's all the plays that you have. Wait, fuck. Never mind. I forgot. Oh, they want to know how long Yuri's going to be pitched for. First of all, Larry Beeman gifted your one sub at a baby. I heard Yuri's going 75 to 80 pitches. So if that's 4 innings, if he gets through 6, he's going. That is a pitch count, not an innings limit. What have you heard anything?
I have not. I mean, Marlins didn't use their A bullpen really this weekend because they were not winning, especially yesterday. So, I still like the Marlins A bullpen. I know they've been a little bit shakier lately, but like the Puck, Scott, Robertson group is an above average bullpen for me when they have their A guys. The depth is a little shaky. Like if Brazoban has to come in for 2 innings, like, oh boy, start praying. But I still like this bullpen and the way that they can platoon some of these Reds guys and force them into their, weaker split with maybe some pinch hitters could also make them weaker too. I like, throwing lefties at this Reds lineup, given their current, lineup.
Good shit, brother. 2 plays, 2 winners. Thanks for coming on, Anthony. And we got to get you up to 100 picks. And I know you got the picks.
I'm around tomorrow and Wednesday, so I should be on the show.
You just, and I know you hit Sweden. I don't know your bets, but I know you. Yeah, you did.
Sweet. I had under a half plus 750. It's great. I had Nigeria 7-1 this morning to advance.
Yeah, you're a psycho. You're a psycho.
3 a.m, baby. We were up. I set my alarms. I'm running on fumes.
Good shit. Well, I'll let you go to bed, and hopefully you wake up at around midnight tonight to an A's 10-0 win. All right,
that wouldn't be any fun. They got to have some kind of sweat.
No, I want it. I don't even want to. I don't want the Rangers to score a run.
Esteury Ruiz game-winning double.
Would love that. All right, my friend. We'll talk to you soon. All right, we got Colbert Olson, and I'm fading his favorite team. How are you?
Yeah, you are. Dude, Anthony hitting a plus 750 under a half soccer bet is electric.
I mean, that is just.
Is there a more electric bet? Like, I don't know.
I don't know. A's money line might be slightly more electric, but it's not plus 750.
No, A's money line, Royals money line, parlay to win all of the units back is the bet.
To win the most units Vegas has ever tracked. Imagine like on BR betting. You get like one better has placed a parlay A's and Royals for $100,000 to win $10 billion.
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, at that point, just baseball is doing great.
Yeah. Look at our revenue stream. We just made $10 billion last night.
I mean, I could quit. No more partnerships. Who needs it?
Who needs sponsors when we just got A's money line in the bank? But what are you on today? Marlins money line.
We're starting with the Marlins. Okay. My next pick does involve the Red Sox and the Royals, but not telling you, but kind of telling you in a way. But I will start with the Marlins, Pete. So minus 150. I think I might have got it at its worst. Now it's at minus 140. It was at minus 125 when Anthony got it. So this one has just been going all over the map today, which is terrifying. But I don't really care because line movement doesn't matter. It
doesn't matter.
Anything.
It's the one that moved in our direction. So like it's not hitting, but sounds good.
No, so basically I think after a month off here, he's going to shove. He did struggle a little bit down in his 2 like minor league, not rehab stints, but just like 2 starts where he was building back up, but he didn't give up any home runs in those outings. And you never know how those minor league defenses are, especially with a guy like Yuri. But I think he's going to shove tonight. 2.36 ERA and a 3.5 xERA before being shut down is insane. Cincinnati Reds have not been able to hit righties. They have a 282 xWOBA against righties the last 30 days, which is last in baseball. Just absolutely abysmal at hitting right-handed pitching lately. I also really am excited to fade Brandon Williamson, who has been quite fraudulent. Clay brought him up to me on the fantasy show recently, and I was like, dude, I know he's pitched 4 games well in a row, but his last game was a stinker, and there was no reason to believe that the peripheral stats are off. 5.72 xERA on the season, a 5.11 Sierra, and the Marlins have hit lefties well all season long. So I have no faith in him pitching well today. So regardless of if Yuri shoves or not, I think that the Marlins win this game anyways, and I trust their bullpen more than the Reds.
Fair enough. Yeah, I love the play too.
I haven't laid this much juice on a play in a long time.
Yeah, you haven't. I immediately saw this pitching matchup and I was like, give me Yuri. And then I was like, so when I go through my games, I'm like, all right, this should be minus 150 or more. So I'm minus 130, bang, give it to me. Give it to me. But I'm not a lay juice on favorites guy because whenever I bet on favorites, they never win. Just underdogs. All right, well, let's talk Red Sox Royals.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a very interesting, good game. Like, I agree, Pete. I don't think that the Red Sox should be minus 195 or whatever they are tonight, especially after how bad they played this weekend. But I decided not to take the Royals here because I looked at Brian Bayo's home road splits, and he has been really, really good, not only this year, but last year at home. So for his career, he has a 3.58 ERA at home and a 4.72 ERA on the road. So he's just clearly better when he's pitching in Fenway. And he's had, 5 or 6 starts in a row where he just hasn't been dynamite. And I think that the Royals are a good matchup for him. I know that they've been hot, but I think they're a good matchup for him to bounce back tonight. So I don't see him imploding tonight. I think he goes, 6 innings, 2 earned kind of outing. But Cole Ragans,
that's a good outing. It's a great outing.
I think that's what he does tonight. I could see this one like being 2-2 after 5 is kind of what I'm capping it at.
Okay.
Cole Ragans, though, you called me this morning and you were like, wow, look at Cole Ragans. I had no idea. You tipped me off on this one. And I looked into it and I went, holy shit. His last 2 starts since being traded to the Royals, 11 innings, 11 Ks, 3 walks, and 1 earned run. And the stuff is pretty crazy. Every single pitch in his repertoire has a whiff rate over 25%.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty legit stuff.
Good.
And
it's good.
The Red Sox have been abysmal against left-handed pitching as of late. They have an xWOB the last 30 days against lefties of 285. So not great against lefties as of late. I mean, like earlier in the season, they were definitely killing lefties, but for whatever reason, lately they have not. And I think Cole Ragans is definitely an above-average lefty right now. And so, yeah, I think this one gets off slow.
Fair enough. No, I don't mind this at all. Also, just one thing you didn't mention to help your case: favorable weather conditions at Fenway today. I'm pretty sure wind blowing in, if I'm not mistaken, so should end up helping the pitcher. But I think you can make the argument that right now Ragans is better than Bayo.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
I think right now, I think
right.
Bayo is better, but like Bayo's been throwing the entire season. He's a rookie. Like he's got a lot of starts under his belt. He's clearly slowing down, as you've seen in his last couple of starts. And Ragans is like 3rd start throwing 95. Yeah. Like, give me that right now. Yeah. Royals bats have been hotter. Plus 170, give me a break. But I do like this under if you want to pivot, because I don't think Bayo gets crushed. I think he pitches relatively well. I just think Ragans shoves. And I like this first 500. I think it's a good spot.
Yeah, you're always the man with the weather, but I just love when guys have a complete arsenal gets whiffs. Like there's not one pitch that Ragans throws that I'm like, shit, that's the pitch that's going to be the end of us tonight. I don't think so.
Oh, George Parsey, wind is blowing out to left at Fenway. Maybe we got a let's check a weather report. I don't think that's accurate. Let's see.
Go to the ballpark now. Let's see it.
Yeah, so we got plus 4%. Let's see where they're getting, but Fenway's always going to be plus. At Fenway side wind, not out.
Yeah,
side to side, which generally helps pitching. Like you'll normally see Fenway and Ballpark Pal like 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. Today it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th. 8th out of 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 12 parks.
And what you don't want at Fenway is the wind blowing out to right. That's when things get crazy because that's the deepest part of the park, and when things are flying out
this way, right. So it's blowing like like from right to left.
Okay,
like side. Yeah. So
great. Love it. That even helps my case. Sure. So
Also,
one more play for me today, Pete.
First of all, shout out everyone in chat with the Dodgers going crazy. Dodgers just scored 8 runs. They went down 5-0, scored 8 runs in the 4th. Shout out all my Dodgers bettors. Sorry to all my people are saying study hall. What does that mean? Oh, study hall sharp deck GG. I don't know. Whatever. Let's go to play number 3.
This one is so disgusting.
It's so square, but like it's gonna hit.
Is it square? I feel like it's
it's like 90% of the public is on the
Oh,
Cubs.
really? I don't even check.
I don't care. It doesn't matter. Like what? Let's see. Yeah.
This one's gross. Like 90% of the public. That's crazy. Because Senga
everyone on earth is fading the Cubs. Everyone on earth is fading the Mets.
Sure. I mean, it makes sense. Kodai Senga has been so good, Peter.
I know.
2.81 ERA and a 3.09 FIP in his last 13 starts. So, like, I usually give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, all right, he came here, give him a month to kind of figure it out. That's like since May 17th. So he has been, in the Cy Young conversation, basically. Like, if the season started in mid-May, he'd be in the Cy Young conversation is what we're talking about here. But the Cubs have been just murdering righties, which is probably why a lot of people are on this play, 130 WRC plus since July 1st. So I don't think he's going to go unscathed in this outing. But the Mets also have been a bottom 5 team against lefties. They have a 74 WRC plus against lefties since July 1st, and they have been bad against lefties as long as I've known them this season. And Drew Smiley, so this is why this is gross, though. Drew Smiley has been god awful.
Yeah, he's a beat.
He has an ERA over 6 in his last 8 starts, and like his FIP is also 5.5 in those starts. So this is why I'm like, this line really has no, like, it shouldn't be like this. If the Mets were a normal lineup, they're not. They have Jonathan Arauz in the lineup. Like, they look like the Red Sox last year in mid-August when they were rolling out like the worst lineups you've ever seen. This is what that Mets lineup has turned into now. So yeah, I think that the Cubs are a really sneaky play tonight. I guess not sneaky anymore though.
Yeah, no, but I mean, to your credit though, everyone on Twitter is on the Mets. I've seen that all over because everyone wants to fade the big public dog and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, we'll see. We will see.
That's all mental warfare tactics anyway. The road dog and all that. It's just like, bet the game.
Bet the game. Shut up and bet the game. All right, Cole. 3 plays, 3 winners, correct?
I really hope so, man. I really hope so. I had a good week last week. I think we were up like 6.5 units last week. So let's keep going.
Stay hot, baby. All right, good shit. Go Royals. Screw your Red Sox. All right, we'll talk to you soon.
See you, buddy.
All right. Mid-Major Matt, one of the hottest bettors on planet Earth.
How
are you?
I'm doing well, brother. How was the weekend with the Book It crew?
It was fun, dude. Yankees Astros was a blast.
Good.
Had a good win there by the Yanks. I had enough drinks. I don't know if you saw my tweet. I was like, I had enough drinks to think the Yankees might win the World Series. Turn around and give up 9 to the Astros. So sobered up, kind of past that. But there was a moment there where I'm like, hey, if we get hot, but other than that, event was great yesterday, and we will be going Mets Cubs tonight. So,
nice.
Sure if you're around, come say what's up. What do we got today?
A little piece of advice for you is maybe take some of those winnings on the Oakland A's money line and invest in some dance lessons. I saw some of the videos you posted with Trent, and they were underwhelming. We'll say.
You didn't think I was good at dancing?
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. I did not believe you were 6'4", and you're a solid 6'4", so good for you, Peter.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll stop this cute discourse, but the first play I have, I don't know really what to tell you here. It's the Rockies. If you look at actually the Rockies' most recent stats against right-handers away, they're actually pretty phenomenal. The top 5 in most categories: xFIP, WOBA, ISO, BABIP, all that shit. If you look at the 2 series they played since the All-Star break, they played against the Washington Nationals and the St. Louis Cardinals. And those 2 pitching lineups are just AAA guys. I don't care what name is on the back of the jersey. It's just AAA guys. So I'm not putting much stock into that. And going from Dakota Hudson and Trevor Williams to Freddie Peralta and that 4-seam fastball with that bite inside, I don't think they do anything against them today whatsoever. And the Brewers, since the All-Star break, actually have the highest or the lowest xFIP and the lowest ERA of any bullpen in the entire major league, which I've doubted Elvis Peguero all year because that dude was in the Angels, and I saw him tip pitchers live, and that dude sucked with an 80 ERA, but the Brewers fixed him somehow. But if the Rockies score 4 on me on the road, I'll bite the unit. But it's square. It makes sense. It's baseball reasoning. I could say it's a bit contrarian because the Rockies have hit pretty well lately. But again, the quality of pitching they faced is just very poor. And what they see tonight, I think, is going to be phenomenal stuff from Freddie Peralta today and the Brewers pitching staff.
Hell yeah. I mean, I love my boy Freddie.
Yeah.
It's kind of expensive to bet this.
Agreed. It's 150. It is 150 on the King of Sports books. I will say, I did not get the line at 150, but that's what we're playing it at. For the King of Sports books. But, what are they telling you? What you're the math guy. If the Rockies score more than 4 times out of 10, it's a losing wager. Is that essentially what it's saying, right? The odds
Basically.
With Peralta and a healthy Brewers lineup, I don't think they score 6 times out of 10. And I like the odds, and I think I think the odds are in my favor with a healthy Peralta and with a healthy Williams, Strzelecki, Milner, and Peguero. Have pitched very few. Pitched not much lately. And like you said, actually, you made a good point. Peter Lambert has been phenomenal on the road. He blew up his last start, but on the road he's looked pretty good. And if the game's close, then the Brewers are going to have to use those guys, and that's part of the handicap as well.
Fair enough, my friend. All right, let's keep moving.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason I'm back in this competition is because I 3-unit bombs every fucking day. So why change what's working for me? But the San Francisco Giants, Peter Apple, are the worst team by far in terms of metrics, offensive metrics, against left-handed pitching in the last 30 days. They have been atrocious. And it's interesting enough because the one thing they do well is they barrel the fuck out of the ball. They got some big old boys that just barrel the ball. And the one thing that Patrick Sandoval does extremely well is he just misses barrels. He has a huge walk issue, but he doesn't allow the ball to get hit hard, and he does not allow the barrels to get hit to make contact. And with the swing and miss that the Giants have had lately against left-handed pitching, and their lack of, their quick approach and their lack of patience, in one of the lowest walk ratios against left-handed pitchings of late, I don't really think that Sandoval's or erratic pitching, they can take advantage of it, because I think they're just going to take the bat. They're going to swing at fucking everything. And if that's the case, he's going to miss a bunch of those barrels, and he's going to get a fuck ton of ground balls today. And I think that if I don't believe that Sandoval allows more than 1 run in the first 5, and if we have to score 2 to win this bet, I like those odds in my opinion.
Fair enough. No, I mean, I was looking at this spot too, and I finally saw the Giants bats. Like, if the Giants were kind of shut out by the A's yesterday, I'd be like, all right, they're in a rut.
Yeah.
But I think they found something offensively, but they were finding it against Luis Medina. They ain't finding it against the lefty. I just have a tough time fading Logan Webb. But I like to play. I would lean this way too.
Yeah, agreed. You touched on it, reminding me. Thank you. The Giants, I think we've talked about it here and there throughout the season. You kind of want to play a team. You want to fade a team after they play the Oakland A's. The quality of pitching there they see is very poor, and the stuff that Sandoval has is much different. So just because they scored off of Luis Medina doesn't mean they're going to score off of Sandoval's stuff. No, and it's interesting because his main pitch is his slider, and the Giants are the worst team against the slider the last 30 days. So pair that with their inability to hit lefties. I like it. But you touched on Logan Webb. His road starts, obviously his worst splits. But again, he's not the youngest guy. He's starting to rack up his innings in his career. But he's also coming off of 4 days rest. In this spot, the last 2 seasons, he's not performed extremely well when he's thrown over 100 pitches on 4 days rest. So that's also what I'm fading. And for some reason, the Angels they're just hitting the ball. We're not winning any fucking games because our bullpen is ass. Estevez cannot throw a strike. But we're actually hitting the ball. We're scoring. We just can't hold anybody back. But I want to alleviate or not account for the Angels bullpen. I just want to isolate our bats that they've been hitting and isolate Sandoval and the Giants bats that have not hit left-handed pitching. So first 5 money line for myself, sir.
I like it. I like it a lot. Good play. One more? No?
That's it. Yeah.
Get the hell out of here then. No. I didn't mean it. All right, let's bring on California Wager. Callie, it's been a while. We got to get more picks out of you. We just got to because we got to get to 100. You want to go to the World Series or what?
Yeah, and I missed out and went 13-3 last week in baseball. So we'll get back to it
until you come on the show and deliver some winners. So what do you got for us today?
At least VIP has gotten it, but I was very regretful I couldn't get more in yesterday. Let's piggyback on what we just talked about with what you were just talking about, Matt. I like the under in this game, 8.5 for the Giants game tonight. A lot of the reasons we talked about, Giants I've mentioned before, abysmal against left-handed pitching, and coming off of. Again, I'm looking at the A's side of it as well later, but I think with the Bay Bridge series is a big deal for both these teams, regardless of the talent. It was also scorching in the Bay Area this weekend. It was over 100 yesterday. That was a day game they played. Both of them bounced back again today, so I know that does take a toll. I like Webb. I think he's throwing the ball well. I think he continues to improve, and I do like the under in this one.
Fair enough. I think runs are going to be tough to come by in this game. That's why. But I like Sandoval.
More just I like the first 5 under, but hold our breath. Hopefully, in the bullpen we can get at least a decent performance out of somebody and stay under. But yeah, I see this one being pretty low scoring.
Let's talk about your Rangers bet because you and I are on opposite sides. I got a half unit on the A's. They might win, but you think the Rangers might just destroy them.
Yeah, I think yesterday was, again, a lot of emotion for the A's. I watched a lot of that game. It was, a big deal for the A's to take over and be able to beat the Giants like they did. There was a lot of runs scored. The game lasted quite a while. Again, like I said, it was 100-plus degrees yesterday in Oakland. I think that Texas I think you mentioned it earlier, and I think you've said it in previous shows. Texas, when I look at just the numbers, they're a better team in every facet in terms of this game. I think, too, that the way that they score, I like the Rangers offense. When they get going, they get going. And it's hot here again today. I think the ball's going to travel well. And I think that just the Rangers are coming into a good spot where the A's might have a little bit of a down spot after, those couple big wins over the Giants, which is a big deal this year to them.
I don't know. I think the A's might win 20 in a row.
I'm all for it. Then they're gonna convince everybody they can't leave.
All right, let's go to play number 3.
Let's see. So I've got Blue Jays. I took Blue Jays money line today. Is that correct? We've got Blue Jays money line, and then we've got what's our fourth? We'll get to that after. I like Blue Jays today. A little bit of a fade of Cleveland after that wild weekend. I also think that Toronto, to me, is the better overall team. Cleveland's been very hit or miss this year. I've had no consistency with their offense for sure. Every time I feel like I've got them figured out, they find a way to either get shut out, put up 12 runs. Basically, whenever I've been going on them or against them, they seem to make me look like a fool. I think that Rio throws the ball decently well today. Obviously, I have Ramirez out of the lineup, and I think that those bats for Toronto are strong enough to take down Cleveland today.
Fair enough. I thought the line was priced correctly. Like Rio is not good.
No, it felt right
way back, but the Guardians did not hit a lefty. I like Gavin Williams a lot. I feel like I almost like the under because I was like, this might just be like a 2-1 type game.
Yeah. I expect lower end offensive wise. I expect that from Cleveland. But with Toronto, they're that team that does bounce out and suddenly put up a bunch because they can't get going offensively, especially at home. But even being on the road here. Yeah,
I'm very interested to see how Gavin Williams does against the Blue Jays because he's trending in the right direction. So that's why I was like, all right, the Blue Jays are the better team. I think they have the better bullpen. I think Gavin is better than Ryu, though. But Guardians in the worst split. It's a tough game, but it's interesting to see you be on the Blue Jays. And we got one more pick.
Yeah. Let's see. What was our last pick today that I gave you guys this morning?
We got Rockies, Milwaukee over.
I like that. Yeah, so I like this game. I think that this game's going to find a way to get over. 8.5 to me with these two doesn't seem high enough. I just feel like with what I've seen, I mean, we did see. I was on the Brewers last weekend. We saw the Brewers put up 13. We know they are capable of scoring a decent amount of runs. I just think 8.5 is just too low with these two guys starting. I don't have a massive amount of faith in either bullpen. And obviously, Milwaukee's trending in the right way offensively. Colorado, I heard Matt earlier talking about he liked their team total over. So that does kind of make me feel the same, a little bit better about my play. I think that both these offenses can get.
He was on the team total under.
Oh, he's on the team total under. What was it, 3.5?
3.5.
Yeah. So, I mean, even with that, I still think that, Milwaukee puts up a decent amount. They can get there. I still feel comfortable that, a 6-3 game doesn't seem wild in the slightest from Milwaukee. And if Colorado gets a little bit of their own, then so be it. I feel even stronger about it. But I do think that 8.5 is just a little bit too low.
Fair enough. It's a tough game. When I was looking, I was like, what's Peter Lambert going to give us? But I think you assume that he's going to give the Brewers plenty of chances to score runs.
Yeah.
Callie Wager, great to see you back on the stream. We just need more picks.
We'll be here all week. Let's get to 100 real quick.
Hell yeah. Here's the leaderboard for the people. Callie, good to talk to you, my friend. Oh, there he goes. So yeah, could you flash the leaderboard? I just want to see where everybody's at. So I think there was a question in chat, like, how does Javon have more picks than me? He just doesn't. I think I have like 70 more than he does. Oh, that's why. I'm 78, 82, and 13, up 5.19 units. So that's why the record is just wrong, but I got plenty of picks. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to bounce. We did a little bit of a shorter stream today, but I'm going to Mets versus Cubs. Going to go drop my backpack at home. Then I'm going to go up to Citi Field to watch the most public Cubs team ever take on the Mets, who suck. I'm very interested. No, let's just bounce. Love you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Don't got much for you. We're at Citi Field, Queens or New Jersey. It's in Queens. Hopefully you guys just enjoyed the stream. Remember, I'm on the A's money line for a half unit, Royals money line for a full unit, Marlins money line for a full unit. And Brian De La Cruz is my home run pick. Enjoy the game. Thank you, my friend. Talk to you guys soon. We just have to remember, it's not gambling advice. Peace out, everybody. Good luck.